What's going on, Dodger fans? Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of the Incline Dodgers podcast. This is Kevin Klein speaking. We are presented by TickPick and Fansided. Hope everyone had a wonderful All-Star break. The All-Star Game, the Home Run Derby are in the books, and the good news is you get your Dodgers baseball starting tomorrow, Friday evening at home at Dodger Stadium against the Milwaukee Brewers. So we'll talk about the Dodgers' second half schedule, get into all that in just a second. But for those watching on the YouTube stream or listening on the podcast, drop below in the comment section, who do you want to see the Dodgers trade for before the MLB trade deadline? Because I've got my MLB trade deadline takes. I'm about to lay it out later on in the show of who I think the Dodgers need to circle in and acquire to make this team more acclimated and ready for the playoffs. But Jake, you watched the All-Star Game, you watched the Derby. Any thoughts on all that?
Well, I think of all the All-Star games out there, and this I might be a little biased because I love baseball so much, but I really think the MLB All-Star weekend is the best. Weekend, I should say, beginning of the week or the festivities. Between the Home Run Derby and the actual All-Star Game, it's the only All-Star game where the players are playing at full strength and they are competing at their highest level possible. You know, it's not some flag football thing for the Pro Bowl. It's not some, no defense kind of layup line dunk contest in the NBA. This is real baseball, and you can't fake that. And for a lot of the guys that are trying to make a name for themselves, it's exciting. It's also exciting for the veterans. Like, we got a great couple of minutes out of Clayton Kershaw mic'd up on the mound. I was hoping that he was going to be able to finish the inning. He got 2 quick outs, but that was incredible to listen to him kind of tell us what he was going to throw and what Will Smith was asking for during the batter. It was just really cool from a guy that is now in the latter part of his career, but really enjoying the game. I think for the majority of Kershaw's career, he's been super dominant, the 3 Cy Young Awards, the MVP, being at the top of his game for so long. He's now getting into the twilight years where he is really enjoying baseball, and you're seeing that, and you can't fake that. So that was exciting to watch him pitch in the All-Star Game. But the Home Run Derby is exciting too. And I think they need to go back to the old format though, Kevin, because the one thing that I miss about the Home Run Derby is following the ball where it goes after it's hit. With this timed way with this sort of, Home Run Derby with the clock, you don't get to see where the ball lands, and the camera movements are so shaky, and ESPN can't keep up with which angle it wants to show. It has this awful split screen going on. You don't really know what to pay attention to, but it was a really cool event. And I think that, something that Dave Vassay has been making points about, which is if you change the Home Run Derby rules back to the way they were when Ken Griffey Jr. and Mark McGwire were doing it, which is just, if it's not a home run, it's an out, you might get more participation from the Otanis and the judges of the world that may not want to put that strain on their body as they get older. So I think they need to go back to the way it was. It may take longer, but you'll get more theatrics out of it. And then the last thing I want to say, I love the way they ended the All-Star Game with a Home Run Derby itself. I think the swing off was great. And I loved that ending, because you don't want to see like a full on extra innings marathon. This was a great way to end it, I felt.
So the original Home Run Derby rules, if I remember correctly, thinking back to my childhood, they just gave you 10 outs and that was it.
Yep. If it wasn't a home run, it was an out.
I can't remember why they moved off that originally, just because players were starting to fizzle out and they weren't getting the home runs like they used to. So they decided to go the clock method.
I think it was taking too long. I think that's why they did it. I mean, You'd have guys like Josh Hamilton and Bobby Abreu, but like those guys that had those massive like outings like that, or those massive rounds, like you want to see that. Like that's cool to me. And so I don't really mind watching a long event if it's entertaining.
Yeah, I think the Derby needs a makeover. It feels like it's getting a little stale, and this seems to happen every few years, and then they shake up the rules and add some excitement. But yeah, I don't know. I wasn't really feeling it. In terms of the All-Star game, I agree. Going the swing off route definitely adds some new flavor and something that I would like to see in more exhibition games. In terms of the regular season, though, I know Justin Turner kind of had the idea of that this was the direction baseball should go, is just having that swing off in general once a game gets to extras. I'm not quite there yet. I do think if we got to the 12th or 13th inning, maybe I'd be more interested, though.
Yeah, I mean, look, here's the thing. I don't think you could really have that during a regular season game. And the reason I feel like it won't happen is it's you're too reliant on your coach. It's like we're going back to like the 5-pitch or T-ball era where it's like your coach was the pitcher. I just feel like if you don't have a guy like Dino Ebel, it's like, unless they want to make the coaches more a part of the game. I mean, they are dressed up in the uniform, so might as well put those to good use.
Get Noah Davis in there.
Yeah, take the worst pitcher on the roster and just say, hey, do what you do.
Problem solved.
I don't know if you could do that, though. I think honestly, it's like it would ruin the game a little bit for me if we would eliminate extra innings.
Yeah,
I don't like it. But to end an All-Star game is great.
Yeah. Any other takeaways? I know Freeman got his flowers in Atlanta. That was obviously a moment he was waiting for. And then Kershaw was our pitcher representative because obviously Yamamoto wasn't available since he pitched well on Sunday. And Ohtani, he got a leadoff base hit.
Yeah. A couple things. One other thing is only Padres and Giants relievers gave up runs for the National League and kind of blew this game. So that was kind of funny.
Yes.
Freddie Freeman got a nice ovation from the crowd. And also, Kevin, we had the ABS system in place.
Fan.
Huge fan. It worked perfectly, and it didn't take that much time, and the rules were very clear. I mean, I know it's coming next year, but like, I'm surprised it's not already in place.
Yeah, no, I'm a big fan. I think it's going to be an awesome addition to the game and much needed, especially thinking back to a few weeks ago when that one umpire screwed Yoshinobu Yamamoto out of his immaculate inning.
Yeah, imagine like doing that in that moment. That's an immaculate inning right there.
Totally. Appreciate everyone tuning in. Hit that like button if you're watching on the live stream. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't done that yet, and turn your notifications on so you don't miss our live content. And you can be a part of the chat. We'll get to some questions and all that in a few minutes, but we got a big discussion to get into now. So you weren't with me a few days ago when we talked about Tanner Scott blowing yet again another save. This one was against the Giants when it was a 2-0 Dodgers lead going into the bottom of the ninth. And then Luis Matos, who's been having a trash season for the San Francisco Giants, connects for a pinch hit, 2-run home run, sending the game into extra innings. Tanner Scott now has 7 blown saves at the halfway mark. First, Jake, overall thoughts on kind of Tanner Scott and the train wreck of a season we've gotten. It hasn't been Tanner Scott mostly for the Dodgers. It feels like it's been Michael Scott.
It has been a absolute dumpster fire with him. I don't quite understand what's happening or what he's doing differently between last year and this year. I mean, last year he was unhittable and he was getting guys like Shohei Ohtani out on the regular. And this year there have been spurts of dominance that we've seen, but a lot of just mediocre pitching. I mean, when you lead the league in blown saves, something's wrong here. I don't know what's happening with him. It is very, very concerning, especially when you have so many injuries to the bullpen. Treinen's out, Gratterall's out, Kopech, Evan Phillips. The list goes on, and not to mention how bad has Kirby Yates been. he's been terrible too. So the guys that you really thought you could count on are not performing. And someone could make the argument that, oh, well, you're being pressed into duty maybe more than you should be with all these injuries. But I don't think that's the case either. I think that Dave Roberts has handled Tanner Scott really well. I mean, there have been a few times where they've done back-to-backs with him, but mainly they've kept him pretty fresh as far as I'm concerned. So I don't really know what's going on, but I don't know. I have not given up on him yet, Kevin. I still feel like the stuff is there to put something together, but just like with Mookie Betts and a lot of these other guys, like the second half, it's time to show up.
Yeah, Matt's getting where I actually wanted to go on X. Should they move him into the setup role when Treinen is back? I'm in the mindset now. The Dodgers need to remove Tanner Scott from the closing role altogether. 7 blown saves in the first half is just simply unacceptable. We bagged on Craig Kimbrell all of 2022, and you look at the numbers right now, Tanner Scott is actually pitching at a worse rate than Craig Kimbrell did for the Dodgers. Kimbrell had only 5 blown saves for his entirety of that season. It felt like 10 plus because he was taking years off my life. But with Tanner Scott, one of the issues with him, I don't think it's necessarily the stuff, but it's the location. He's given up 8 home runs this season. In comparison, he only gave up 3 last year, and he only gave up 3 the year before. And he's already up to 8 home runs this season, which is just astounding how big of a drop-off he's had.
Yeah, I think that is the most astonishing part is just he's catching too much of the plate. And I think maybe where we get the differences in how we felt about a Craig Kimbrell versus a Tanner Scott, I think you said it, Kevin. It took years off your life because he was walking guys, he was hitting guys, there was wild pitches, and it just every time out was a nightmare. And sometimes he would get out of those jams, but mainly it was just a circus. I mean, they were just running all over on him. Tanner Scott's not really doing that. He's just giving up bombs and to guys that he shouldn't be giving up home runs to. So I think that's maybe why you might view a Craig Kimbrell different than a Tanner Scott, because Tanner Scott's just getting hit and there's really nothing you can do about it. Cause it's not, like you said, it's not the command. It's basically the location.
Yep. It's the location, and he only throws 2 pitches. And the fastball overall has been okay, but the slider that he throws, the opposition's hitting 305 against this slider. And then that's where I kind of was getting into why I think setup role might be the move. In the 8th inning, which is pretty high leverage, hitters are hitting 213 against Tanner Scott. In the 9th inning, hitters are hitting 276 against Tanner Scott. And in extra innings, hitters are hitting 313 against Tanner Scott. So clearly when there's more pressure and runners get on base, he gives up more hits. It's kind of like the Bobby Miller effect.
Yeah.
As soon as he gives up that one hit, he kind of has a meltdown.
Yeah, it's been very, very frustrating, but I'm not, like I said, I'm not giving up on him just yet because I feel like there could be a second half turnaround, and certainly the Dodgers are paying him enough money to figure it out. So I trust this Dodgers pitching staff to be able to, or coaching staff to be able to try and figure out how to turn his season around, because we desperately need him.
Yeah, I'll get into the names in a little bit, but for the pitching side of things, for me, the emphasis is still targeting a reliever over a starting pitcher. I think we need bullpen help way more than we need starting pitching depth. And you kind of rattled off the names earlier, like Phillips, huge arm, out for the season. Gratterall, huge high leverage arm, is supposed to come back, but you can't really put a lot of stock in that. Blake Treinen is rehabbing, supposed to come back, but he's been dealing with forearm tightness for months. I don't know if he's actually going to maintain health. So I don't want to put all my eggs in the Blake Treinen basket either. And then Michael Kopech's going to miss the longevity of this season with that knee surgery on the torn meniscus. So I really do think, with Kirby Yates being a huge disappointment, Tanner Scott obviously being a huge disappointment, you got to go back to the well and gamble on another high leverage arm.
Yeah, I'm definitely with you, and I want to get into some names, but I feel like I should tell our listeners that per Ken Rosenthal on The Athletic, he has a few updates on these relievers that you mentioned. So Treinen, like you said, has been rehabbing, and he's set to rejoin the team next week. So that's good. Kopech, according to Ken Rosenthal, is on track to return next month from surgery. So that's kind of a quick turnaround. And then Brusdar Graterol, which we've not heard anything on him, it feels. He underwent right shoulder surgery last November, which that we knew, and he could begin a rehab assignment next month. So things are going in the positive direction. Similarly with the rotation, getting Glasnow back, Snell is on the way back too. But I don't trust any of it. So I'm with you. It's time for a reliever. And it looks like, according to Ken Rosenthal and Fabian Ardaya, the Dodgers are maybe not going to be focusing on a starting pitcher. They're going to be focusing on the bullpen and an outfield bat, which we knew.
Absolutely. That's exactly what my thinking was. So yeah, all the insiders are saying Dodgers going after a high leverage reliever. The industry and the other executives, when they ask them in their anonymous surveys, they feel like that is the biggest weakness for the Dodgers right now. So I do think we will just wait it out these next 2 weeks, and maybe we'll get some insiders on the show soon, and we'll get some specific names other than the ones we're going to talk about. But yeah, I think the Dodgers have to get a reliever, and hopefully someone with maybe some years of control, because looking down the pipeline, like Kirby Yates is a free agent. I don't want him back. Evan Phillips will probably be out most of next season, if not all of it. Michael Kopech is going to be a free agent. I don't expect him back either. So they're going to need to restock the bullpen nonetheless.
Oh, absolutely. And it's just so frustrating too, because they spent so much money on Tanner Scott and Kirby Yates to be guys that would hopefully be big additions to this bullpen. But as it turns out, we've really needed them, and they've not shown up for us thus far. But there are some pretty good relievers on the market, and a lot of them coming from the AL Central.
Yes. No, that's where I'm targeting too. I want to get to some losers real quick on the 40-man roster, and let me know if any of these names stand out to you. I was looking at this Dodgers 40-man roster and kind of picturing in my head, like, who could get thrown into the trash, who's been a huge disappointment, who has not really contributed at all for the Dodgers in the first half, or maybe they did contribute, but they've been a disappointment. So I'll read off some names, and then we can focus on whoever you like. But Anthony Bonda, Junior Fernandez, who I know was recently added, Nick Frasso, Tony Gonsolin, Landon Knack, Jack Little, Dustin May, Bobby Miller, Nick Nastrini, who I know they recently added, Zach Penrod, another one, Matt Sauer, Lou Trevino, Hunter Fiducia, Michael Conforto, James Outman, Esteury Ruiz.
Yeah, it's a lot of guys. To me, I think that I could see Bobby Miller being tacked on in a trade somehow, along with a couple of these guys. Noah Little is expendable. I think Tony Gonsolin is expendable, but I don't know that they're going to get rid of him. They seem to like having him around, but I've just not seen anything from Tony that gives me any confidence that he can A, stay on the field, and B, get hitters out. So for me, he's gone. I think Michael Conforto has started to turn things around a little bit. He's been hitting better and found the power a little bit. So we may see some things from him second half, but that shouldn't excuse the Dodgers from going out and getting an outfield bat, because they desperately need someone that can actually play the outfield. Now, I like Esteury Ruiz. I think he's a weapon. I think he's like a Terrence Gore type, from the Royals when they won the World Series in 2015. Yeah. Like, we need a guy like that, much like a Hae-Sung Kim, but like Esteury Ruiz, I don't remember what game it was, but he pinch ran for Mookie Betts, I think, in that Giants series, and he stole a base with ease. I mean, How valuable is that? And then he can go out and play a decent outfield. I think he's very valuable. But from the guys that you mentioned, like, Matt Sauer could be a casualty, although they do like him as like a spot start, long relief, bullshit bullpen day. So what do you think?
Of these names, the biggest disappointment by far to me has to be Bobby Miller. We are now a year and a half basically removed from him being an effective major league starting pitcher. And we only got a little glimpse of him this season, but he was horrible against the Rockies. And then in AAA, he's just been bad as well. ERA over 5, whip of over 1.5. The strikeout rate is down, only 52 strikeouts across almost 65 innings thrown. Like, what the hell is going on with Bobby Miller? How do you go from being one of the top prospects in all of baseball, having a pretty good rookie season, being really impressive, throwing multiple pitches above average with ease, high velocity, and then you turn into this pumpkin? I'm just baffled by the drop off, and I don't know if we're at the point with Bobby Miller now where he just needs a change of scenery, because I've talked about it ad nauseum. Turn him into a reliever, see what you got, but the Dodgers haven't done that. So maybe, I think you mentioned it a few minutes ago, you just tack him onto a trade package. I mean, like a team like Cleveland, for example, they have a history of turning guys kind of like the Dodgers, but more so with the starters, into really good arms. I feel like Bobby Miller would be a Cy Young winner with Cleveland.
I think what's not talked about enough when it comes to the Dodgers and other high profile teams like the Yankees and the Mets, big market teams, is the pressure that some of these young players just cannot seem to handle sometimes. And it may be that. It may be as simple as that Bobby Miller is just between the ears. He's gotten hit around pretty well at the major league level, and he goes back down to the minors again and just can't get his mind right. And so now he's just getting hit by AAA hitters, and it's just a downward spiral from there. I wouldn't be surprised if it's something mental with him. And so it wouldn't surprise me, like you said, if they trade him to a team like the Cleveland Guardians or, a team that doesn't have as big of a spotlight. You don't have that much pressure. And also the bar is lower for you. It's not like you're the main guy in a deal either. So the bar is low, and that can really do something for someone's psyche. I really think that's a big issue. We've not heard anything like in terms of, a hiccup with his recovery from the injury, or even the thing that he, the fastball to the head that he took, the batted ball in spring training. Right. I don't know if that has anything to do with anything, but it just seems like he's just dealing with something kind of mentally right now that he can't seem to pull himself out of. And pitching for the Dodgers is not going to necessarily help you with that.
Absolutely. Just the other name, he's not high profiled anymore, but time's up for James Outman. Like it's time to go to a small market because it's just not working.
Same thing with him. It is just every at bat, it's like he can't figure it out. He just can't figure it out.
He's the definition of he couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat. It's just got into that territory with James Outman. Like if James Outman, they're going to face the Twins. I think it's near the end of the year, but I would love to see James Outman get 3 at-bats against Noah Davis. And if he doesn't get a hit in 3 at-bats against Noah Davis, like you just DFA him.
That's the litmus test. That's the final boss.
That's what I need to. That's what I need to know to confirm. Like if we're just out on Outman.
Yeah, I think the Dodgers are out on him. But they need him right now because of the injuries to Teo and Edman and all of that. So they do need him. He's a great, and the problem is that he's such a good center fielder that it's like, it's hard to part with someone like that who, when he first came up, it was like, oh my God, we have lightning in a bottle here. And then it was a steep decline after that.
The bottle broke.
Yeah.
There are a few individual players I wanted to focus on, and then we can get into the trade deadline stuff. We're Tommy Edman fans, but what happened to him?
He's hurt. I think he's hurt. I mean, you remember last season, he didn't play a game until he wore a Dodgers uniform. He was with the Cardinals. He had ankle problems then. He might be dealing with some stuff now. I mean, he fouled a ball off his foot. I think a lot of his maybe his explosiveness in his lower half is gone. It seems, I don't know, but that's the only thing I can come to, because he is, after a hot start to this season, he has cooled off pretty consistently.
Very, very cooled off. Since being activated off the injured list, he's a 201 hitter. He's got a 565 OPS, 60 WRC plus, just 2 home runs. Everything that was really good about Tommy Edman prior to that injury has completely fizzled. And I do feel like the injuries have taken him back pretty significantly. So I don't know if it would be wise for the Dodgers to just IL him and let him heal up, because we've seen what this guy can do in October. It's a tough call. It's him and Teoscar. They're the same right now.
Would it kill them to IL him and actually give Kim an everyday position? I mean, would it really kill them? I think Hae-Sung Kim could handle that.
I agree with you. And it's not like Edman's fighting for a contract. They gave him a nice extension in the offseason. So.
Right. So just get right.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I don't know why they push these guys like this. They don't need to do that.
It'd be nice to have kind of like credentials essentially and ask these guys, like, why are you playing if you're hurt?
Right.
I feel like that's the one issue I have with the Dodgers media sometimes, is they don't ask these hard hitting questions. Like, why are we not interrogating? Like, I don't get it.
Well, it's because the LA media core, or I should say the LA sports media core, is completely different than that of the Yankees or the Red Sox or any East Coast team like that. I mean, the Los Angeles, the way it is, it's like there's none of that. There's no challenging of it. It's very kind of milk toasty, and the only guys that really pop off are like Dylan Hernandez and Bill Plaschke. You know, it's like, and nobody really takes those guys seriously anyway. So it makes no sense that you could hope for something a little bit more hard hitting than that. I don't think it's going to happen. It's like, and also LA sports radio is not like New York and Boston, in that it's not as harsh as it is, you know, on the East Coast. So you don't really have, you know, kind of holding people accountable. I mean, you should have seen what was going on online. People were eviscerating Aaron Boone as the manager of the American League for how he managed the home run derby, and basically said, all right, Jonathan Aranda, like the season's on the line, basically, here you go. You know, it's a different beast on the East Coast. It is.
No doubt about that. No, I agree. And for some reason, Aaron Boone just doesn't have that East Coast mentality, because he continues to make stupid plays.
Yeah, I'm surprised how long he's been around. I mean, I know the players like him, but he has not really done the job when they needed him to.
Yeah, and they're falling off too. I know we don't talk about the American League too often, but the Blue Jays have a lot of momentum, and the Yankees have the opposite right now.
Finally, I mean, it feels like the Blue Jays have been on the precipice of being a good team for a while. I mean, they've had a very similar core for a while. It's interesting that they're finally kind of putting it together.
Mookie Betts. What to say about Mookie Betts? We went from the Mookie Betts hype train to been kind of negative on Mookie Betts a lot this season, and I hate that, because Mookie Betts is one of my favorite players, but he took a risk playing shortstop this season, and offensively, whatever the reasons are, it's not going too well for Mookie Betts. He has an OPS of 696. This is a guy that you can almost take it to the bank and lock it in that have an OPS above 800 with ease. And right now, OPS is less than Miguel Rojas. He's been cold too since June 1st. He's hitting 229 with just 3 home runs, a 627 OPS, a 72 WRC plus. So Jake, my question for you and the audience is, what are kind of your expectations for Mookie Betts going into the second half?
Well, I mean, I think it is a lot of the stuff that we know and love about Mookie Betts needs to come back. I think the power needs to come back. I think the, situational hitting needs to come back. I mean, he's a great hitter with runners in scoring position. It used to, offend him when they would walk Shohei Ohtani in front of him and he would get angry and would make you pay. It's like, where's that Mookie Betts? Where's the Mookie Betts from, the 2020 World Series when they brought in Nick Anderson and he just lit him up? You know what I mean? Like, he needs to get back to that clutch factor where when he's put in a position to come through, he needs to come through. And he's just not been doing that. And I was reading up on kind of this article again on The Athletic that was talking about what you can expect second half, and they're talking about all these different things. And one of the things that Fabian Ardaya brings up is the Mookie Betts issue. And we've talked about this, Kevin, because we can't really figure out what's going on with him. And the one thing we kind of point to sometimes is maybe he's focusing way too much on trying to be a good shortstop, which he is. He has become a pretty solid shortstop, but his offense has definitely taken a hit. And this is what Fabian wrote. He said, still, no one in the organization will tie Betts' decreased offensive production to his position change. Even if shortstop doesn't have as much of a mental wear on him as it did last year, when Betts produced an .892 OPS at the position, there's a physical toll. There are no plans to move him off the spot. So that's one thing that we were trying to see if maybe they could move him back to right field or even second base. Looks like that's not happening. But then here's a quote from Dave Roberts. I just can't see that you go out there and stick him in right field tonight and he's going to throw out 2 hits or 3 hits, or he goes to second base and he's going to go on a heater, Roberts said this month. That's hard for me to kind of imagine, but it's a fair ask. I just don't see that as the case. And then he also said, I think he's healthy. I think he's strong. I think he's playing great defense. It's just trying to figure out his offense and the mechanics of it. He hasn't really gotten ahead by getting hot yet, but it's coming. So,
of course they're gonna make it sound like it's an enigma and not jump to any conclusions because they don't want to admit that they might be wrong.
Right there, you go. That's exactly what I was going to get to.
I'll let you get to it.
No, I mean, I think you're right. I think that there's no way that they're going to admit this was a mistake, because if you admit that it was a mistake, then you're telling Mookie Betts that it was a mistake and he put in all that effort for you for what? Only to be told we're actually good and we can actually fill that position and you move back to right field. I don't really know how this plays out. They're kind of maybe too far down the road with this to make it to make a change. It could be the case though that like kind of what happened in October last year, they just moved him there because they felt like that was the right move. And they had Tommy Edman fill in. Excuse me. They had Tommy Edman fill in, and it was fine. And also Miguel Rojas and that sort of thing. But I think at this point, it's like, this is our shortstop.
I'll put money down right now that Mookie Betts does not play shortstop for the Dodgers in 2026. I'll be shocked if they run it back. Unless they win the World Series, I guess, and he just goes absolutely apeshit, then maybe I eat my words. But I just am having a hard time seeing this playing out well, honestly. Like the numbers that we're seeing for Mookie Betts, it's not like he's trending upwards. He's only been trending downwards. It's not like he came out of the gates super slow and then has kind of like what Max Muncy did essentially, came out of the gates super slow and then has been incrementally working his way up. It's actually just been the opposite. He came out of the gates a little hot and then was going down and then a little teeter up, but it's mostly just been down. And I just don't see signs of it getting better.
I don't either.
It's ridiculous.
It's the bat speed is gone and
no speed in general.
Actual speed, the base running speed is just horrible. I mean, there's no other play that really illustrates him and his lack of speed for when he got thrown out during the Astros series, trying to turn a double into a triple when the guy had the ball as he was touching second base on his way to third and he was out by a mile.
I don't know if this is anything to put much stock into, but With runners in scoring position, 78 at-bats, he only has one home run, 32 RBIs, but only one home run, and he's hitting 256. So nothing that impressive here offensively. He's basically been league average across the board. And that's crazy to me because this is Mookie Betts we're talking about. Shohei Ohtani, no problems with him offensively. 91 runs scored this season compared to 134 runs scored altogether last season. But I'm actually surprised Shohei Ohtani has scored 91 runs considering the lack of offensive production with Mookie Betts right behind him.
What about this, Kevin? I know we've talked about this before, and I know the Dodgers are kind of locked in on this lineup of Shohei Ohtani leading off, but I would love to see an experiment where we have someone like Hae-Sung Kim lead off and have Ohtani bat second. I think it's a small move, but it might have a huge impact. We've seen it where Kim gets on base for Ohtani at the bottom of the order and is able to steal second and whatever. And now you have a run scoring opportunity for Ohtani. But if you lead him off, then if you lead Kim off, I should say, then you're basically guaranteeing him a spot in the lineup every day, which he hasn't had. You get that consistency. You get a different vibe at the top of the order. The only question is, where then do you put Mookie Betts? And that's a tough decision because are you going to bat him? Would you bat him third then or moving down to fifth? I don't really know if you could do that. So it does get tricky. I understand. But Shohei Ohtani has too many solo home runs for my taste. I want more. I want more, especially if, the Dodgers this year have been playing from behind pretty much every game. So when they come to the bat rack in the bottom of the first, let's say they're playing at home, wouldn't you want to get 2 runs in the first inning instead of just the potential 1? I just think that it's worth taking a look at and also maybe creating some more RBI opportunities for Ohtani. I think it's worth taking a look at. What do you think?
So I don't think I'm a big fan of that idea, but you can push back on a couple reasons why. Do you have belief that Hae-Sung Kim could draw walks?
I do. Because he is first of all, he's a good two strike hitter. So he hangs at the plate a lot, extends the at bat, more opportunities for more pitches. He can work it. I mean, but here's the thing though. It's like, if you put him in the leadoff spot and you tell him that's his job, I mean, I have a feeling he could pull it off. I really don't think they're ever going to do this, but I just feel like they need to figure out a way to put more guys on base for Ohtani.
If you believe he can get walks, it makes it more, enticing. I don't believe so far that he's a big walk guy. I mean, I'm only seeing 6 walks over 112 at-bats, so that's not that many. I mean, the on-base percentage is high at 378, but I think mostly that's inflated because he has a high batting average, and I don't know how sustainable his batting average is ultimately going to be. The other knock against Kim is he's not a home run guy. So you're not going to get the leadoff home run most likely. And I know that was to your point that you want a guy on for Ohtani, but I just think Kim's game is more suited to probably be at the bottom of the order, at least this season.
I hear you. But here's the thing. Whether you put Kim at the top of the order or if Mookie starts to hit better, put him at the top of the order, they need to have Kim in there every day in the 9 slot. If he's going to be a part of this team here and moving forward, like, he needs to be in there every day in a position in the lineup so that he knows what the role is. And I think that, you look at that sample size you gave, and I agree that 6, you said 6 walks, right?
Yeah.
Like, I agree that that's low, but I also give him the benefit of the doubt of the fact that he doesn't really play that much. So we don't really know what it would be if he was in there every day.
And to that point about not playing that much and not knowing, my other concern is, can he hit lefties? Will the Dodgers give him a chance to hit lefties? Or if we go into the bottom of the 9th inning needing a run, are they going to pull him for, let's just say Chapman, I guess, is closing it out for the Red Sox. I know that this is regular season, obviously. Are they going to pull him for Miguel Rojas? Like, are we going to get this nonsense? That's kind of my other.
I mean, if he's at the bottom of the order, they will, but not if he's the first batter in the lineup. I don't think.
Yeah, which, I mean, when you're playing the numbers, when you lead off versus you're the 9-hole hitter, you're more likely to fall into that scenario. So it's why.
Yeah, I just it's something that I've noticed. It's funny. It's something that my dad is always ranting about whenever I'm watching the games with him. It's like he hates the and he's from a different generation, obviously. But you and I, Kevin, we grew up with traditional leadoff hitters
like D Gordon,
but like Dave Roberts and like Eric Young and Tom Goodwin and Scott Podsednik and those guys, that would get on base and would steal you 80 to 90 bases a year. And that just isn't the case anymore. And I understand it, but I still feel that there's value in that. And the Dodgers actually have the kind of prototype to actually do that. I just would like to see what it would look like if they put Kim in the leadoff spot. I mean, come on. Roberts likes to use his Sunday lazy lineup where he has, Rushing and Rojas and, Kike in there and like Esteury Ruiz, where he just puts all the bench guys in there. Why not on one of those days on a game that they're going to punt anyway? Why not just try it? I mean, what's the harm? I mean, find out if you have something there at least. That's my thing. I just feel like with the way the lineup is constructed, we could play with it a little bit.
Okay, so Catch the Blues, one of our top listeners, had a number of questions for us, but I'm gonna focus on one, and this is kind of my last question. Then let's get into some deadline talk. So he asked, "Do we need another starter? We're one injury to Yamamoto from being in trouble. Snell out, Glasnow's health a question. May hasn't been great. Sasaki not back. Ohtani on a slow buildup."
I mean, look, as we know, the starting pitching market is a bit thin.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm always in the market for another starting pitcher. Always. I don't want to get caught in the situation we were in last postseason, which we were able to get through and win it, but that's not a recipe for success. It just isn't. I think they won despite having kind of a wonky pitching plan. So I would like them to go out and get someone, if for nothing else, get a guy that's going to be out there every day, like a Charlie Morton or something like that, where you know that the guy's going to be right. But I'm saying, he's going to be out there every day. He's pitched a lot better since he first started the season. I think that it's worth going out there and getting a guy like that. I think there is, even if it's not for him to be a playoff starter, I would like to have another guy there just because you want to keep that 6-man rotation for Yamamoto.
You want the 6-man rotation. I do agree with that. I'm actually very optimistic right now, which is probably not a good thing when it comes to our starting pitching depth. And to No Name's question, what can we get for Dustin May? I'm just about ready to trade Dustin May, to be honest, because he has not been good the last 6 starts. And I talked about this in depth on the last recording I did with Chris, where Dustin May has an ERA over 6 over his last 6 starts. And that includes a White Sox freebie. So if you took that start out, he'd be even worse. But to where I'm getting at now, so thinking ahead, which I know we do this a lot, but I'm looking at the playoff rotation, and you can let me know how you would maybe adjust this. But I'm thinking Yamamoto goes game 1, Shohei Ohtani goes game 2, Blake Snell goes game 3, and Tyler Glasnow goes game 4. So let's stop there. Is that your order, or would you change it?
I don't know what their plan is for Ohtani, so that's the only thing that I'm thinking is like, are they going to eventually have him be a full-time starter, or is he just like a 2 to 3 inning opener type?
think Bob wrote, or he said on AM 570, I think 5 innings is kind of where they're going to max him out.
So yeah, if they don't go Ohtani, then I would go Yamamoto, Snell, Glasnow, and then Ohtani, or Ohtani with a Sheehan or something like that, or
Also,
dare I say old man Clayton.
So what's also nice about Ohtani going game 2 is it'd usually be with an off day to follow. So you can kind of use your bullpen and then you get the day to rest. Because hopefully Yamamoto has, kind of created ace-like mentality, and we can count on him to go anywhere from 5 to 7 innings in game 1. And then you use your top guys to support him. And then with Ohtani, you might have to get some more relievers mixed in there. But I think that's the move. Now, to kind of round out now the rest of the guys in terms of why I don't think they need to make an acquisition. So you've got Emmett Sheehan. I think Emmett Sheehan's going to continue to play a role for the Dodgers, whether it's piggybacking Ohtani or just getting a flat-out start altogether. I think he's earned that right to be on this 26-man roster. You've got Clayton Kershaw. As long as he stays healthy, you give him a rotation spot. And then come playoffs, that's a different discussion. And then that's the 6. I'm trying to think if I'm forgetting anyone. But so Dustin May was obviously the other guy, but I talked about shipping him out maybe, but you might have to keep him for the regular season and just kind of wear it to fill out your 6-man rotation.
Yeah,
I don't know what they're going to get with Sasaki. It's hard to count on him. Justin Robleski, he's kind of been a tidal wave, but I do think long-term outlook with Robleski, I'm still high on him. I'd like to keep him and give him some starts. So I just don't think trading for a starter is a need right now.
I agree. I think in terms of the priorities, it is lower on the rung. But I just think in terms of starting pitching, you can never have enough. I did find this quote interesting from Oral Hershiser during Dustin May's latest outing, which I believe was that against the Astros. I can't remember. It was his most recent start. San Francisco. Yes, it was against the Giants, where Oral said he was talking about his outing so far, and he said it's in the realm of throwing the ball well. And I thought that was such a great way to sum up his season, I think, for Dustin May, because he is in the realm of throwing the ball well. Like, he does have moments and he does eat innings. I mean, he is one of 2 starting pitchers in the Dodgers rotation that has made every turn in the rotation. And he's even pitched, I think, more than Yamamoto, because Yamamoto is the other one. And he gives you length too. I mean, he does give you 5-6 innings, but it is an adventurous 5 to 6 innings. It is not always, clean, and mostly it isn't. So I don't trust him in a playoff setting, but I think if they don't deal him, and again, it could be another like, Bobby Miller type thing where he's tacked on as a good piece to send along to sweeten the deal. Because I do think that Dustin May has talent, whether it's a starting rotation role or a bullpen role. Yeah. I still think that there's talent there. The stuff is very good. It's just, he just doesn't control it that well. And then also the other part of it is he doesn't control his emotions well either. So he's got to clean that up. Again, it may be a case where he leaves Los Angeles and becomes a stud somewhere else with a little bit of a dimmer light shining on him. But yeah, you can't have him anywhere near the playoffs at this point.
We're seeing a lot of trade deadline names, some good names being suggested in the chat. That brings us to our opinions now. I've got only 2 teams I'm interested in dealing with altogether. But Jake, who you talked about AL Central, we're probably going to have some crossovers here. Who are you targeting?
Well, it's interesting because I've seen a lot of things about the Guardians and the Twins. And from the Guardians, you got their closer, Emmanuel Clase, and setup man, Cade Smith. And then for Minnesota, Griffin Jacks and Yohan Duran. I would take any one of those guys at this point. I think they're looking for a dominant right-handed reliever, and especially one that has closing experience in Class A. And I'm not sure, is Jax the Twins closer too?
Setup,
man. Okay. Whatever the case is, let's just call it high leverage because that's the term we use now. So they're all great high leverage relievers, and I think that those are the guys they're probably going to target. But you got to have to keep your eye on what happens between now and the deadline, and there's really not that much time. And those two teams, even though they're far back in the division because the Tigers are having a moment, they are still in the wild card discussion. So do they think they have a shot? And do they want to go for it, or do they want to sell off this talent? And that, I think, is going to be a deciding factor. And with that, because they know the desperate, the teams, they have the leverage basically, because they could say, we don't have to give you any of these guys, but we're going to hold on to them until we get the right price.
Any other names?
I saw someone mention Chris Martin. Is he still, he's with the Red Sox, right?
I believe, yeah. I think he went to the Boston.
Yeah. So I don't know if they're looking to deal. They seem to be in the hunt. So
I don't want him anymore. I think that ship has sailed. It was a nice acquisition when they got him, but he's up there in age now. I just don't think going the aging reliever route is really working for the Dodgers, and we're seeing that. Kirby Yates hasn't pitched well. Blake Trinan's been on the IL a lot. It's just I would go for someone in their prime. No more of these old men farts. Like, don't sign David Robertson, who's 40, trying to get his way back into Major League Baseball. The top reliever that the Dodgers could possibly trade for, and I don't think it's any debate, is absolutely Johan Duran of the Minnesota Twins. The reason I'm not jumping on that ship and feeling confident is I'm just not quite convinced the Twins are going to deal him, because he is arguably the best reliever in all of baseball right now from a statistics standpoint. Like, everything this guy is doing is just off the charts. He's unhittable. He hasn't allowed a single home run this season. Tanner Scott's allowed 8. Duran has allowed 0. So that's
the prized possession.
Yeah, and to get Duran, you're probably going to have to give up Dalton Rushing or Josue DePaula or Zaire Hope, one of the top prospects, because that's just how valuable Duran has been to the franchise. Now, that's why Griffin Jax is maybe a more natural pivot, and he's been pretty good too, but I don't know if Jax is the home run acquisition that you're looking for. He feels like a nice consolation prize. So that brings me to my point now. I think the best possible trade package that, if I was the Dodgers executive and I'd put all my attention and focus in for the next 2 weeks to try to get a deal done, you call up the Cleveland Guardians and you try to tempt them into trading you both Emmanuel Clase and Steven Kwan. I think that's the A+. Take it home with you. Fly out whoever you need in the Dodgers system to LAX, ship them off to Cleveland, and you bring in Emmanuel Clase, who, in my opinion, is absolutely elite and has just been lights out year after year. Last season, he had an 0.61 ERA, and I'm aware he gave up some home runs in the playoffs, but I think that's because Cleveland overused him, to be honest. This season, he still has an ERA below 3, so I'm very happy with that. In terms of the amount of home runs that Clase has given up this season, 1. He gave up 1 home run, so still an improvement over Tanner Scott.
Yes, and I was just looking up his postseason numbers.
Yeah, I don't know why people are calling him a choker. Like, he's not a choker.
Yeah, so in 2022, he pitched in 4 games, and he didn't give up a single earned run. 6 innings pitched, so he was dominant. 6 strikeouts. He was amazing. And then last year, he got roughed up a little bit. 7 games. He had a 9 ERA. And gave up 3 homers in the postseason. To me, it's like, this is a not a big enough sample size to really sink your teeth in, because he had one stellar postseason and one not so good, but his regular seasons are very good. So you got to think that, it's going to go the Dodgers' way if they acquire him. I'm just based on the body of work that he's done in the regular season. So yeah, I like that move. And obviously Steven Kwan helps us not only defensively, but with the bat. And look, that's then, if you're not going to, like I said earlier, it's like, if you're not going to put Hae-Sung Kim at the top of the order, then you're definitely going to lead Steven Kwan off. Like, I feel like that is the move for the Dodgers if they were to acquire him, is put him in that leadoff spot and move Ohtani down to second. And then you've got a great 1-2 punch at the top of this order. Now, I'm curious what the Dodgers would give up for that. And I think that Cleveland was going to ask for everything.
Got the answer. And for just to clap back at people calling him Kenley Jansen 2.0, Kenley Jansen was elite in the playoffs. Like, his ERA in the playoffs is in the mid twos. It's not like we're talking about Kenley Jansen was just consistently blowing up in October. There were some defining moments, without a doubt, that
he's also arguably the greatest closer in Dodgers history.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. The blemishes.
So I'll take Kenley Jansen.
Yeah, the blemishes
stand
out.
Not this Kenley Jansen, but
yeah. No, the blemishes stand out. No denying that. But for every 2 or 3 bad Kenley Jansen moments, there were like 20 great Jansen moments that have gotten overlooked. So
yeah, he just to pull it up, because you were right, he has a career 2.20 ERA in the playoffs, 20 saves in 24 opportunities, so only 4 blown saves, and that is a sample size of 59 games.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I just don't feel good with Tanner Scott being our closer right now. And to the last point that I was going to get at is, you don't have to use Clase every save opportunity. That's what's powerful about the Dodgers bullpen. They've got multiple guys they can turn to on back-to-back nights. So but having Clase in your back pocket, if it's maybe a series defining game, that's when you can turn to him. But Dave Roberts has shown he's not afraid to go to Blake Treinen in the 9th inning or an Alex Vesia in the 9th inning when the moments call for it. So we've got options, and I think that sets Clase up for better success.
I agree. And that trade solves 2 issues, but you wanted to tell us what your trade package would be for that?
Yeah. So it's going to cost a lot. I mean, you're getting 2 All-Stars essentially. Like, I don't expect this to be an easy move for the Dodgers, but I think you get Cleveland to bite by offering Josue DePaula. And I know that that's not very sexy and ideal for many fans out there, but we're trying to win a World Series in 2025. And it's, if it's not DePaula, then I think it has to be Dalton rushing. But I don't know if Cleveland has a need at the catching position. They certainly could have a need for an outfielder or an infielder or a DH in the near future. So I think DePaula is the headliner to get Cleveland to bite. And then you'd probably throw in a guy like Edgardo Henriquez, because he could potentially be that replacement for Clase in the future. And then you throw in some fillers like that Bobby Miller or that Landon Knack, and you round it out with some starters.
Yeah, I'm with you. I just the DePaula piece, I just am so hesitant on, because it reeks of the Yordan Alvarez trade that when we got Josh Fields. And even though at the time it was like we didn't really know what Yordan Alvarez was going to become. Yeah. But in this case, we kind of have more hype around Josue DePaula, and he just is continuing to show that he is, an exceptional talent. So
yeah,
it'd be tough. It'd be tough to part with, but I think honestly, it would be worth it for a back-to-back titles.
Yeah, I mean, DePaula could easily jump up to the majors next season if he were to just continue on his trajectory. some people are very aggressive and optimistic that on the right team, he could be in the majors by the end of next season. I don't think that'll necessarily happen on the Dodgers because we have the depth, but he's a lotto ticket at the end of the day. He could be the next Yordan Alvarez. He could also be the next Miguel Vargas. We just don't know. So
also, I was looking at Cleveland, by the way, because you said the catching position is not something that they're looking to upgrade. I don't know. I mean, Bo Naylor, I know that Bo Naylor is their guy. He's 25 years old, so that's good, but he's having a bad year. He's hitting 171.
We don't care about Bo Naylor. I don't know if they had a top catching prospect.
Oh, well, if they don't, and they're kind of on the Bo Naylor express here, I would take Dalton Rushing. And I think, it's tough because Dalton Rushing really has a lot of like roadblocks to this roster. Other than being a backup catcher, I don't really know what other role he's really going to be able to do unless they start playing him at other positions.
That's why I'm a little more inclined to trade Dalton Rushing now if the right package presents itself, because he's just not worth keeping on to if they're just going to use him as a backup catcher if you got a home run package on the other side waiting for you.
And also, how easy is it for them if they were to dish Dalton Rushing to bring up Hunter Fiducia and just have him be the backup catcher?
Yeah, or you get really desperate and you call up Austin Barnes, who I'm sure would opt out of his minor league deal with the Giants.
Oh, please, no. No, Austin Barnes, no. They can't.
I'm just saying, like, if you traded Rushing.
No, I know, but come on, there's got to be someone else. I mean, if you're gonna get a light hitting catcher, you might as well go for someone that can really play defense well, like a Martin Maldonado. Like you're not going to go get Austin Barnes back. I really hope that's not the case.
Desperate times would call for desperate measures, but Stephen Kwan would just completely flip this lineup over and be way more dynamic. Would be an excellent guy to have near the top third of your batting order, whether it's first or second. So they need an outfielder. They need to replace Conforto, in my opinion. So Kwan is my guy. I know we're running up over an hour now. Let's do pet peeves real quick, and then I'll get to some final questions in a rapid fire. So if you got good questions, we'll do your questions. But pet peeves.
Pet peeves. Well, we had been talking about this for a little bit, and it's not necessarily like what we hate most about like things that happen in a baseball game. It's just we were thinking about certain situations that really just grind our gears. And one, for example, is when they bring in a reliever and immediately walks the first batter, like on 4 pitches in a tight game. It is one of the most maddening things when, especially on the heels of a starting pitcher that had been dominant and got lifted. And now you have this reliever coming in a tight game and he walks the first batter. I think that's one of my least favorite things to happen.
So my biggest pet peeve is the opposite of what you were just saying. You get into a high leverage spot usually, or maybe it's in the early parts of the game. The starter, the reliever, they're a little erratic with their command. They start to throw some balls. They walk a guy. Maybe they hit a guy. They're up to 8 consecutive balls. Next thing you know, there's 2 on, maybe nobody out. And then the next batter up at the dish facing this pitcher who's still in the game. Clearly the confidence is shot. They're very all over the place with their command. What does the batter do on that next pitch? They swing at it, whether it's the first pitch or it's a 1-0 count and they swing at it. That just drives me absolutely nuts.
And it's always a double play too.
that was going to be the next point, is that.
Yeah.
And then it results in a double play and the rally is absolutely killed. And that is my biggest pet peeve. I would make this pitcher get me to 2 strikes, then I would swing.
And it's also like you could make an argument too in that situation if it's like a hitter with some clout, like a Freddie Freeman or a Mookie Betts or whatever. But it really kills me when the rally's going and you got Miguel Rojas up there with too much hubris and too much confidence in his game, and he tries to do too much and just grounds into, well, we saw it, a triple play. Remember that last year? Yeah. So that happens, but also like, and Mookie Betts has done this too, where the Dodgers will be building a rally and he'll come up with the bases loaded and nobody out. First pitch, pop up, second base. It is just one of the most maddening things.
Any other?
I do have one more. Have one more. My other one is when it's either if our starting pitcher is struggling or not. But typically when, like, let's say a starting pitcher is struggling, and Dustin May's done this a lot, where he'll be struggling, right? He'll give up a couple runs in the first inning. And you're like, oh, here we go. We're off to the races. But then miraculously, the offense comes up and just takes the lead for you. Puts up 3 runs, 4 runs. And then my pet peeve kicks in when Dustin May or whoever goes back out to the mound and immediately coughs up the lead. That's one of my most aggravating things. It's like your offense just bailed you out. You've got to do better than that.
No, I'm right there with you. And then my other quick pet peeve has to be, this is going to be a common one for I think a lot of us, but and you especially. Player hits a home run, they're not in the lineup the next day.
I know. Or like has a 4-hit game, like Hae-Sung Kim, on the bench. You're done.
Just drives me up the wall.
Yeah, no, it makes it, because baseball is such a rhythm sport that, it's so tough to come off the bench as it is. But especially when you figured something out the plate in that game, you want to carry that momentum over to the next day.
Yeah. This might be the only question we get to. I don't know if I see any other ones I should shout out. But Harmony Davis, thank you, Harmony, for being in here with us. Who do you think is the AL and NL Cy Young winners right now?
Well, I think Tarek Skubal of the Tigers is definitely a hot candidate to win it again. And then on the National League side, where do you go? Paul Skeens?
You want Paul Skeens? Okay. It's definitely a 2-horse race right now. I know Paul Skeens is leading in ERA, but I got to go Zach Wheeler. I think overall he's been more valuable to his team, and the Phillies are good, and they're a workhorse right now with Sanchez and Wheeler. I would give the edge to Zach Wheeler at this moment in time.
Okay.
Yeah, with Skubal for the AL. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I could see that. Depending on, though, what happens in the second half, I could see Yamamoto making a run at it. But we'll see. We got to see. All right.
Last thing. So the schedule begins tomorrow. Second half baseball, post All-Star break. We've got a 3-game series with the Milwaukee Brewers. So that means more Mizorowski. How many strikeouts is he going to get against us?
What did you make of that whole circus with him and being an All-Star after 5 career starts?
Oh, him being an All-Star after 5 career starts. That was a slap in the face to Christopher Sanchez, without a doubt. But it was nice to see the Phillies compensated him for what should have been his All-Star bonus, because it wasn't the Phillies' fault. It wasn't his fault. It was the players and MLB's fault for snubbing him. I get that it's an exhibition game, but you can't leave off Sanchez for a guy with 5 starts.
Yeah. No, I thought it was bullshit. Of course, Mizorowski has electric stuff, and he just absolutely destroyed us. 12 strikeouts in Milwaukee. I'm really not looking forward to facing this team again, because they're actually really good. But I just am like, no, like, you got to earn it. You have to earn it. You got to put a full half of a season together in order to be considered for an All-Star. Like, I just thought it was bullshit. And then I know I had heard that some people in the Milwaukee media or fan base was bashing Clayton Kershaw because he didn't know who Mizorowski was. And it's like, dude, like give me a break. He should have to put up a whole season's worth of good stats for people to know who he is.
Yeah. So I was wrong. Actually, after the Brewers is the Minnesota Twins. So I'm going to call up both these managers and I'm going to ask, do us a solid. You're not going anywhere, Minnesota. Start Noah Davis in one of these games. And Dave, you have to start James Outman. And we're going to get it. And we're going to find out if James Outman goes 0 for 3 against Noah Davis, you DFA him on the spot. That's what I want. What we need. We need more things like this in baseball.
Yeah. I mean, that would be a brutal, like, kind of test for someone. And also to be blatant about it. Like, to be like, if you don't get a hit off this guy, you're out of here.
Yeah.
Like, that would be kind of crazy. I don't think the players union would go for that.
And then the Dodgers go on a road trip, and this is my last comment. So they've got the Red Sox, cool. But then they've got 3 at the Cincinnati Reds. So you know what that means. Gavin Lux.
Yeah.
Does Gavin Lux go crazy in this series and get his revenge? Or could the Dodgers keep him in check?
I think Gavin Lux is having a pretty good season, and it's honestly what we've been kind of talking about throughout this episode, which is change of scenery and spotlights not being too bright. And playing in Cincinnati is a great way to kind of just play your game and not worry about anything. So I think Luxie will do something.
What was the word you described to use this season?
In the realm of, what was it? What did I say?
Did you say great or good?
In the realm of throwing the ball well. That's what I said about Dustin May. Is that what you're
Gavin
talking about?
Lux. I said Gavin Lux. Did you just say he's having a great or a good season?
I said I don't know what I said. Did I say great? He's having a pretty good season. I don't know. Why? He's not having a good season?
According to Fangraphs, he has a 0.2 WAR.
Well, what are his counting stats?
He's hitting 265.
That's good for him.
Yeah, I mean,
how many bombs?
He's having an average season. I will say that. He's having an average season.
How many homers and RBIs?
4 and 37.
All right. Maybe I'll I guess I didn't even look at his stats because I was thinking, because I've seen some Gavin Lux highlights this year, and I just was like, oh wow, he's putting it together. So I guess maybe not as much as I thought, but he's probably going to be jacked up for that series. I would imagine.
They always are. All right, Jake Reiner, thank you for tuning in with us. Any final thoughts?
I'm excited for the second half. The storylines that we're looking into are, not only, the Mookie Betts storyline, it's just huge, but will Smith continue his torrid hitting, and will he make some noise as an MVP type of candidate? I want to see a big second half from Will. And because the Dodgers DFA'd Austin Barnes, Will Smith hasn't caught 3 games in a row more than 5 times this year. So I think that that's huge for him in terms of staying off his feet and staying fresh.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few things. The offense, we've talked about the Betts stuff already. I don't want to do that anymore. Edmund needs to get it together. I want to see more consistency from Teoscar Hernandez. But honestly, I just want to see a healthy rotation in the second half. I want Otani to get stretched out. I want Blake Snell to come back probably in 3 weeks or so, 2 to 3 weeks, and him to be an effective part. And I want to see Tyler Glasnow pitch in October.
That's the biggest if for me.
That's all I got.
Good show.
Right. We'll be back when there's some games. We'll be back when there's some games, guys. So appreciate everyone tuning in to this week's episode of the Incline Dodgers podcast. Make sure you hit that subscribe button wherever you're watching or listening. And you all have a great rest of your